Today's episode is a joint venture between CGC Sports Illustrated and myself. Check out their channel and subscribe. Hello and welcome to a very exciting episode of Codename New to Vero 2. Hi, I'm your presenter, Shabu Are You. Now this is a very special episode in the sense that this is the first time we're going to be doing graded magazines. That's right. I'm working in a partnership with CGC Sports Illustrated, and I'll have a link to his channel. He was kind enough to help me with my submissions. Now, as my regulars know, I am mostly known for covering G.I. Joe comics, but we also look at graded comic books, and I've been partnering with EGS and PGX as our grading partners. So, we do the EGS with the custom labels that kind of pop, and also PGX with their comic book grading. And basically, it's a chance to kind of look at some great iconic issues from the Gen X era mostly. Very few modern comics are sprinkled in, but basically, it's a way for everybody to kind of reminisce about the books. And the thing is that these are becoming tangible kind of investments. And I'm not telling everybody to go out and sell your stocks and IRAs and everything, because that's stupid. But it's kind of good in the sense that, they are liquid, and, when we all kick the bucket, it's something else to leave behind for our loved ones, for them to, it's just another. I'm always interested in ways to expand wealth besides the common methodology of which I highly recommend. I don't think comic books and all of this stuff by itself is stupid if you put all your and what these modern comic kids do. I think it's dumb. Um, the most important thing is appreciate the art form and appreciate the book, and that's the number one thing, is the preservation of them. The added side benefit is, yes, there is a monetary value attached to that. So that goes without saying. Now, with that said, because I'm involved in this kind of, I have my G.I. Joe world, I have my comic book world, and now I have my grading world, and also my retro gaming world. So I'm like into all of these things. So I was reached out by this YouTube channel, and it's on Instagram as well. Please follow his channel. And he was kind enough to assist me. Now, with that said, I'm dealing with the devil. I'm dealing with CGC. And I've gone on the record of saying how much CGC is a monster, how much they're destroying comics, and, it's good to support the smaller companies. Here's the thing. CGC has a stronghold over the magazine grading. And the thing is, like, the whole sports memorabilia market is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, there's a Golden, if you see on Netflix, there's a whole series on Golden with sports memorabilia. And that kind of has segued into the magazine aspect of it. And you cannot ignore it. There's a more of a demand in magazines, Sports Illustrated, Time magazines, Newsweek, Playboy, stuff like that. There's such a big demand as far as, like, they're a time capsule, as well as there's significance into them, as far as, like, whether it's pop culture that goes even a step above comics. So I kind of wanted to explore that avenue, and I needed help. I'm not an expert in it. Comics maybe, but not so much with magazines. And I had to learn a lot. I was watching CGC Sports Illustrated, and just as a fan, and learning the ins and outs. And there's a lot of things, nuances. So this is my first submission. I send it to him, and Jim was kind enough to clean and press everything and Make it the best presentation possible. Now, the thing is, just like in comics, there's a newsstand and there's a subscription edition. Now, in comics, we have newsstand direct edition. So the subscription editions are kind of not as good. The newsstands are more sought after. Now, with newsstands, just like in comics, it's almost impossible to get high grades on these. So you got to go in knowing that. And you also got to know that magazines have been read and they're disposable. So especially in the 80s, like people are just, and especially with the swimsuit issues, like so it is tough sledding, so to speak. So for Jim to be able to make things the best of ability, I have to tip my hat. I highly recommend, if you have magazines, don't go it alone. Send it to Jim, have him do all of that legwork that you don't have to worry about, and have your submissions go through him. And a lot of people ask me about comics, like, hey, should I just send in the book? But I always like encourage the cleaning and press service, like when you include that with your submissions. And PGX and EGS, for the most part, has their in-house clean and press service. PGX is the best. PGX has a phenomenal clean and press service, and I highly recommend using them. Even people that submit to CGC kind of use PGX as cleaning press service. That's how good it is. But then there's also independent people that do it. You could find on Instagram. I think Black Market Comics is one. I've never used them, but I've seen them. And I've seen what they do. So he's definitely seems to know what he's doing. So it's advantageous to kind of spend the extra few bucks to maximize because these are investments, right? Once it's sealed and locked away, that's it. It's done. And that's what your loved ones are going to take to get appraised and sell off once you kick the bucket, But anyway, again, like I said, CGC has a control over the market. Now, PGX is kind of exploring that options, and they gave me a prototype. Let me show you. Okay, so I've talked to the PGX owner, Danny, and I said that this is something you should explore. So he sent me a prototype, and this is what I got. So this is the Femme Fatales featuring Elvira in one of her iconic photos. And this got a 7.5. But as you could see, it's kind of like, it's not like a comic. It's basically taking and kind of sealing it in. This is their first attempt. So hopefully they'll see upgrade and get better. But hey, it's cool to have a prototype. And, this is not going to carry its value or what have you because it's in this prototype. I mean, look at this. It's nice for display, but then again, that's that. Alrighty, so now here's the fun part. We're going to get to look at the first submission for graded magazines. And I think everyone's going to like my first submission. So once again, I'd like to thank Jim over at CGC Sports Illustrated for his help. And I encourage everybody to go subscribe to his channel. It is so much fun just like with comics, to go and reminisce with the iconic SI covers and magazine covers, Time magazine, Newsworthy, everything when it comes to magazines, walk down memory lane. So I highly recommend, even like I said, that's the whole point of these types of shows, is you don't have to spend any money. It's just a way for everyone to enjoy, reminisce, take a break from the normal grinds of day in and day out lifestyle, and just have a few minutes of fun relaxation. So here we go with the first book. We're going to follow Jim's format when we do this. All right, so the first issue, see, he always likes to show the back for the advertising. Again, it's funny the contrast between comic books and magazines, because you'll have alcohol and cigarettes and whatever, and of course none of that shit in today's magazine racks, if there is any, if you could find any. So we're looking at a book from 1987, and it is the iconic 1987 swimsuit issue featuring Elle McPherson. Now, this came out February 9th, 1987. My little brother was exactly 1 month old when this issue came out. And again, look at how wonderful. Yes, it got a 5.5, but keep in mind everything that I said. Magazines, especially newsstand editions, are very difficult to secure in high grades. Now, what you're looking for to the average collector is the cover. If you want to make sure the cover looks presentable, clean, crisp, that is definitely a big sell. And yeah, it helps to have Elle McPherson on it as well. So again, such an iconic issue. The 80s swimsuit issues are absolutely home runs. They command a high value going forward. So these are definitely worth picking up if you go to a yard sale, if you find some out there. Definitely target those SI swimsuit issues. Those are really, very, very important, and they're highly sought after in the secondary market. Besides like your LeBrons, your Michael Jordans, all those covers, Bo Jackson. Yeah, these are just as much valuable as it is. And look at that. Look at Elle. Wow. Beautiful. And the best thing is these are investments. They're sealed, so you can't get in trouble with anybody. So that's another reason. Getting the books sealed, slabbed, graded will keep your wife happy, so to speak. But again, I love this. I think this came out fine. I don't mind the 5.5. I think it looks and displays absolutely beautifully. And look at the contrast between the slab of a magazine versus the slab of a comic book. And just like, look at that. And I like how CGC, let me get a CGC book. So here's a CGC comic book. We're going to use Ultimate Fallout number 4, the first appearance of Miles Morales, and we'll compare that with a magazine. Kind of the same format. It has that indentation that CGC is known for. So it's just a bigger version of the comic. So if you're familiar with that, then you should be fine. There's also a barcode in the back. Let me put this one away real quick. The retro room is a complete mess because of all the videos I've been doing and cleaning. But you have your barcode that will give you the grader's notes. But you know, that's one of the things about CGC. I like how EGS has a tangible piece of paper for you to look at the grader's notes. But again, February 9th, 1987. Wow. Beautiful. You just can't, it's just, that's what I like. It's like you look at it and still you get that same effect. So let's go on to the next one. Alrighty, so the next issue, we're talking about the Dream Team. Now, when I'm saying Dream Team, I'm not talking about the one headed by Michael Jordan, Magic, and Larry Bird, and Charles Barkley. No. Our next issue came out February 14th, 1994. So we're in the end of the grunge age era, so to speak. Starting, I guess, Soundgarden, Nirvana, even Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains. Nice 90s. And the book we're talking about is a swimsuit issue of Sports Illustrated that features Elle McPherson, Kathy Ireland, and Rachel Hunter, who would, at the time, I think was married to Rod Stewart. So wow, what a beautiful cover. came out as 7.5. Not bad for a pickup at a yard sale, picking up a lot. So this book came out absolutely beautiful. And some of the things they'll say, 1994, will tell you who's on the cover, and then the photographers that are associated with the SI swimsuit issue. So again, the back Chavez Regal advertisement, another phenomenal job. And I got to credit Jim over at CGC Sports Illustrated with the cleaning and press. I talked about it earlier, how important and how it's worth every single penny to send your books, whether it's comics or magazines, to someone like Jim to get the optimal effect. I mean, when I got this, I was kind of like, it was a little bit, rough around the edges, but Jim really brought out the luster, and it comes through as you guys are seeing over there on your end of the screen. So, wow, what a beautiful issue. Gosh, I remember this too. I was a sophomore in high school. Alrighty, so the next issue we're going to take a look at, I kind of went 1987 to 1994. Now we're going back to 1988. So this one, of course, came out February 15th, 1988. And we're talking about the SI swimsuit issue, again, featuring Elle McPherson. There was a span where she was the it person in SI. Started with Cheryl Teagues, then Elle McPherson, and I think Tyra Banks, and what's that? The guy who married Justin Verlander, the girl who married Justin Verlander, whatever. She's from Melbourne, Florida. I should know who she is. But again, 1988. What a great year. My first car was a 1988 Chevy Nova, which was essentially a Toyota Corolla. Such a far cry from the Nova name. I mean, that thing was... My friend would have trucks, pickup trucks, and of course, I would have that 4-cylinder back, and I would take that thing I'd beat the piss out of that car. But anyway, this is such a great cover. Wow. And I like the Elle McPherson's swimsuit in this one piece. But like, again, the art, the photography, the background, the lighting. And what's cool is when you watch the making of these, especially back then, this was not a digital era, remember. This is all analog film. And for them to get such timeless shots as we're seeing here, yeah, of course she's gorgeous, but you gotta look at it from an artistic standpoint. Like the water, the rocks, everything just fits perfectly to get that shot. I mean, I wanted to be a photographer, because you get to travel all over the world and do all of this stuff. So that was I remember for a while, that was what I thought was the best job in the world. But anyway, this is such a beautiful cover, and coming out at a 7.0, that's really good. I'm really, really excited. So the SI swimsuit issue 1988 featuring Elle McPherson yet again. Our next book is a little bit of a disappointment, but at the same time, whatever. It is what it is. So we're talking about 2014, so we're jumping up on the timeline here. And we see the advertisement. And here is the book. The 60th anniversary issue of Playboy, featuring Kate Moss in her only pictorial that I know of, or first, definitely, for Playboy. And this is such an anniversary issue. Very, very iconic. And after a while, after this issue, they stopped doing pictorials for a while, from my research. And so that's kind of interesting that, this was one of the last of an era, basically. And from then on, they changed formats. And now I think they've gone back. But again, I got a 4.5, and I'm a little disappointed in that. But still, The hallmark is that the cover looks phenomenal. It's still presentable, clean, crisp, and the back is the same. Inside and on the creases, yes, there is some issues, but that's okay because this presents absolutely phenomenal. So we got the 2014 issue. Okay, just like what I do with comics unboxing, we'll always save the best for last. And this is the one that I really was the #1 book I wanted to submit. Now, when it comes to Playboy, there's 2 issues that I think that capture even the common person's interest. There's the first issue with Marylin Monroe, and then there's this one. Now, after Betty White's passing, I think the collective American psyche was, oh, hope nothing happens to this next celebrity. Because no matter what your color creed is, she's been a champion for everybody. I don't even like country music, and that should give you a hint. But I totally respect the hell out of this lady. And I'm talking about none other than Dolly Parton. This is the October 1978, my birth year date of Dolly Parton. And this is such an iconic cover. And what's significant about this is that she recreated this for her husband on their anniversary a few years back. I mean, how beautiful is that? Just for her husband after all these years. And the interesting thing about this is her actual outfit. You know, people don't know that Keanu Reeves' mother was part of the, I guess, the wardrobe designer or outfitter for Playboy back in the day. And he found this outfit in her closet and wore it as a Halloween costume. Talk about full circle and crazy. So that adds to the lure of this issue, that Keanu Reeves wore this same exact outfit for Halloween somewhere in Toronto, Canada, several years after this pictorial. But again, this is a tasteful issue. She does a Q&A. So a lot of people have asked me about that. No, this is a question and answer that she did. And again, collective sweetheart now. After Betty White's passing, I could say that Dolly Parton is #1 list in the hearts and minds of every American, or should be. She has contributed into helping kids read, poverty, whatever it is a just cause. And she has attached her name to it. I have so much respect for her that it goes without saying. I think, like, you know, whether you're rich, poor, black, white, Dolly has been a champion for all. And you got to look past these. But she's the most important thing is her heart. And to have this issue, I actually have another one that I'm going to send. So I targeted these 2 issues specifically, this issue specifically, for submission. And Jim, wow, what a great job. 1978, and it came out, newsstand, came out to a 7.0. That's freaking amazing. And it's beautiful. Presents well. You see there's little to no creases. The back, the white for the Charleston cigarettes is nice. Jim did a fantastic job with this. And I'm so grateful that this is definitely, I mean, you're talking about a couple $100 now, this turnaround. So I'm really excited about this. And again, just a wonderful piece of Americana history. So definitely this is in the personal collection, and this will be used as part of my investments. So I'm so glad to have this. There we go with that. All right, guys, what do you think? What do you think about my first submission for graded magazines? Is this something that you're interested in and looking to explore? I think you should, because like I said, it's important to build your investments properly. You should get your 401k, your IRA, your mutual funds, your stocks. I'm encouraging that as a former government auditor. That's how you build a better, secure future. But it's also good to add these tangible things like selected books like the Dolly Parton, or maybe like Superman or early Spider-Man into your portfolio. It just helps. I don't recommend what these modern kiddos are doing, as that's the only form of money that they're accumulating, because that is very dumb, but it's fun, and you should take it with a grain of salt. Do wise, smart, calculating decisions, but the most important thing is for you to have fun and enjoy while you're on this earth. I cannot stress that enough. And don't look at this as like, just, you gotta look at it on both ends. Yeah, it's fun, and also have, one foot in each lane, so to speak, to make this right. And if once you cross over too much, then that's when you know there's a problem. But again, for my first submission, utilizing this, I think it's a home run. I definitely have several more of them sending over to Jim for cleaning and press. We're talking about more SIs and the China issue. So that'll be all interesting to see. So again, stay tuned. These won't be as frequent as our comic stuff naturally, because there's a third party involved. And like, I wasn't expecting these to come back. They came back pretty fast, 5-6 months. 5 months, I think, was a turnaround time. I think I sent it in February. So, I think sending it to somebody, having them clean and graded, then sending them off to grading, then coming back, that's pretty good. So I'm really happy. I was worried that it would take a year or so. So I'm glad it wasn't that. Anyway, thanks for watching. We're going to go back into, I think next episode, we're going to look at Big Ben, G.I. Joe Classifieds action figure. And we'll see you then. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye.